Hello students, welcome to the revision class of engineering mechanics. So we'll take up the first important question, that is, what is principle of transmissibility? So as we have discussed in the previous classes, that is, suppose for example we have a body which is resting on a horizontal surface like this, and we have applied a force of magnitude P at one location. So suppose this is the force. If this is the force, then this line of action, this line is said to be line of action. Okay, suppose if I remove this particular force, and if I place the same force here at this location P, if I am removing this force and I am applying the force at the same line of action, this is my line of action. Okay, so then the effect of this force will be same as the previous force. The meaning of this one is, suppose this is one force I have applied here, this is the force I have applied, this is P. So the effect of the P, this red P and the black P, is the same. It is nothing but principle of transmissibility. Okay, I'll write the definition here. The effect of, it states that the effect of force is same on the body if the same force is shifted along the line of action of force, along the line of action of force. Okay, this is nothing but your principle of transmissibility. I'll explain you once again. Okay, so it will be clear to you. Suppose this is my body which is resting on a horizontal surface. Okay, then there is one force which has been applied from this location, and the magnitude of this particular force is P, and this is the line of action of force. So what happened if I draw another force, if I replace or place this particular force at this location P? Okay, then it states that the effect of force is the same on the body if the same force is shifted along the line of action of force. That means I am shifting this particular force P at this particular location, so the effect will be same. The effect on this particular body will be same. Alright, so this is nothing but your principle of transmissibility. Alright, so the next question in your important questions is, how many types of loads or how many types of forces or loads are there? Question is, how many types of forces or loads are there? Explain with neat sketches. Explain with neat sketches. So in our notes it is already mentioned there that how many types of forces are there. First is point load. The first type of load is point load. Okay, so the sketch for that point load is, suppose for example we have a beam like this, or else we'll take a simple example. A block is resting on a horizontal surface. a block is resting on a horizontal surface and the force is applied from this location, okay, P. So this point, this load, this P is said to be your point load, okay. Next, second type of load is UDL, that is uniformly distributed load. Suppose for example I have a beam like this, okay, and we have a UDL over the entire span of beam. So the intensity of point load will be in kilonewton, whereas intensity magnitude or units of UDL will be in kilonewton per meter or newton per meter. This will be in kilonewton, newton, meganewton or giganewton, whatever it may be. Similarly, Newton mm or kilonewton per mm, like this, okay. This is for UDL. Then third one is UVL, that is uniformly varying load. So what do you mean by uniformly varying load? So suppose this is my beam and here at this location we have some load and at this location we have another load. This type of loading is said to be a uniformly varying load or triangular load. It's also said as triangular load. So here it is 3 kilonewton per meter and here it is 6 kilonewton per meter, okay. Our units will be in newton millimeter or kilonewton meter. This is the definition for, this is the answer for how many types of forces and loads are there. These are the sketches we have, okay. Point load, this is point load, this is uniformly distributed load, and this is uniformly varying load. All right. So another question is state Newton's laws of motion. Another question is Newton's laws of motion. The question is state Newton's laws of motion. So Newton's laws of motion is, first one is, the first law is every body tries to be at rest or in motion unless and until there is an external or applied unbalanced force is applied, okay. So every body, so I'll write here, every body tries to be at rest, or in motion unless and until there is an external applied unbalanced force. What do you mean by unbalanced force? This is very, very important. Unbalanced force. So the meaning of unbalanced force is, suppose for example I have a body which is resting on a horizontal surface. So what happens if I apply force of P here and P in this direction? Then the body will not move, isn't it? This is a balanced force. So if I apply an unbalanced force, if this is the force applied, then the body will not move. The body will remain in its same position. But if I apply an unbalanced force, suppose for example here I am applying P and here I am applying P plus 2, then this particular body will try to move in its some other direction, tries to be at rest or in motion unless and until there is an external applied unbalanced force. This is the first law of Newton, okay. So the next law is, another law is, we have the momentum of a body is directly proportional to the applied force. The momentum of a body, next I'll write here only, okay. Second law is the momentum of a body is directly proportional to applied force, is directly proportional to the applied force. Suppose, for example, we have a body which is resting on a smooth horizontal surface. The body is resting on a smooth horizontal surface. So what happens if I apply a force over here? Okay, so the movement of the body, the body will try to move from one place to another place because of that particular force. Okay, so what happens, because of this force the body is trying to shift its position to another position. So that means how the position is changed, the position is changed because of this external force applied. So the movement of a body is again directly proportional to the applied force. The force, as the force is suppose for example P is the force, then the momentum of the body will be P. Suppose for example the momentum of a force is P plus 2, then the momentum of the moving body will also be P plus 2. Okay, this is the second law of Newton. And the third law states that every body or every force has equal and opposite reaction. Very, very important and very, very common laws of Newton's, that is every force has equal and opposite reaction. For example, my body is resting on a horizontal surface and there is an applied force, the weight of the body is W, then there will be equal and opposite reaction coming from the ground which will be equal to W. Then only the body will be resting in its position. Otherwise, if there is no equal and opposite reaction, then the body will try to move in downward direction. Okay, similarly, if a body is suppose for example we have a building which is standing on the ground. So how it is standing? It is standing because as the weight, suppose for example the weight of the applied pillar or building is 1500 kilonewtons, then there will be equal and opposite reaction coming from the ground which will be equal to 1500 kilonewton. Then only this entire pillar or the building will be standing in its original position. Otherwise, if the reaction is less than this one, then my building will try to go down. Okay, then that is the third law of Newton, that is every body or every force has equal and opposite reaction. Okay, so the next question is define moment, isn't it? Define moment of a force with example. Define moment of force with example. So the definition of moment is the turning effect of force. The definition is the turning effect of force is known as moment. So what do you mean by turning effect of force? Suppose for example we have a gate here. We have a gate and it is fixed at this location. Okay, so what happens if I apply a force here? My gate will try to turn, isn't it? My gate will come to this position by turning, isn't it? It is turning, right? My gate is turning like this. So this is the original position, but because of this force my gate has been shifted from this place to this place. Okay, so this is the effect of moment. This concept is known as moment. I am applying force here. I am applying which force? I am applying vertical force. But because of this fixity, what is happening? The effect of this force is rotation. My gate is trying to rotate in either clockwise direction or anti-clockwise direction. Okay, so that this is nothing but moment, and units of moment will be mathematically, will say as mathematically, moment is equal to force into perpendicular distance. Suppose this force is F and perpendicular distance from this location to this location is D. So moment M is equal to F into D. So units of force will be in Newton, distance will be in millimeter. So units will be Newton, mm, or kilonewton meter, okay, or giganewton meter, whatever it may be. Okay, these are the units of moment. All right. So the next question is, what is centroid? The question is, what is centroid? So the centroid is said to be, in the previous class I have given you. So it is the center point of an object. It is the center point of an object. Also, suppose this is the center of this line AB. This is A, B and C. So this is the center point of AB, and this is the center point of BC, and this is the center point of AC. Suppose if I project all perpendicular lines like this, then this particular point, this point is said to be your centroid, and these lines are your medians. So we can also say that the line or the point joining the medians is said to be centroid. The lines or the point of intersection of medians is said to be centroid. We can also say as point of intersection of medians. Point of intersection of medians is known as centroid. Okay, fine. So the next question is, what is center of gravity? Next question is, what is center of gravity? So what is center of gravity? The point at which the total weight of the body is assumed to be acted. The point at which the total weight of the body is assumed to be acted. This center of gravity is applicable only for three-dimensional bodies. Applicable for three-dimensional bodies. Suppose, for example, we have a cylinder. We have a cylinder like this. Okay. So because of this body, this body has some volume, isn't it? So when we fill the body with some water or any other material, then the weight of that water will act at certain point, at the central point of the body. So this is said to be your CG. CG, that is center of gravity. Okay. So the next question is, what define moment of inertia? The question is, define moment of inertia. Moment of inertia. So what is moment of inertia? I have given you the answer for this one. That is, definition is, the second moment of area is moment of inertia. The second moment of area is moment of inertia. What do you mean by this one? The moment caused due to its area is nothing but moment of inertia. So area is the units of moment of inertia. Units will be millimeter power 4, meter power 4, or centimeter power 4, or feet power 4, whatever it may be. So this is the definition of moment of inertia. And the next question we have is, list out the formulas for circle. Moment of inertia for circle. Moment of inertia for circle is moment of inertia for circle is moment of inertia. Next question is moment of inertia for circle. For circle, and another one is, we have circle, semicircle and quarter circle. Circle, semicircle and quarter circle. So these are the there are formulas which I have given to you, right? So for circle, so this is the question, right? So for circle, the formula for moment of inertia is pi r power 4 by 4. Pi r power 4 by 4. And for semicircle, pi r power 4 by 8. And for quarter circle, moment of inertia is pi r power 4 by 16. So this is the moment of inertia for semicircle, quarter circle and circle, semicircle and quarter circle. Okay. Next is, we have moment of inertia. We have to calculate, we have to write the moment of inertia for the next thing, that is moment of inertia for, we have to go locate the centroid of rectangle, centroid and rectangle. List the formula. We have to list out the formulas for centroid of rectangle. So centroid of rectangle is, I'll draw the shape here. This is my rectangle, and centroid will be, suppose this is the centroid, this is B and this is D. Okay, so this is, suppose this is the centroid, so this distance will be your y bar and this distance will be our x bar. So x bar is equal to B by 2 and y bar is equal to D by 2 for rectangle. Okay, now centroid for triangle. Centroid for triangle, I'll take the example for a right angle triangle. Okay, this is my right angle triangle, and suppose this is the centroid, and this distance I'll take it as x1 bar, and this distance I'll take it as y1 bar. Okay, and this distance I'll take it as y2 bar, and this distance I'll take it as y2 bar. So x1 bar is equal to, see this is b and this is, we'll take it as h. Okay, so this will be x1 is equal to b by 3, y1 bar is equal to h by 3, whereas x2 bar, this is x2, this is x2. Okay, so I'll highlight this one and this one. So x2 bar is equal to 2b by 3 and x3 bar is equal to 2h by 3. So this distance will be 2b by 3 and this distance will be 2h by 3, whereas this distance will be h by 3 and this distance will be b by 3. Okay, so this we have completed our revision class of first unit, the first internal.